Welcome back to the SP Streamer Podcast, proud member of the Fantrax Podcast Network and FantraxHQ.com family. Michael Simione here, and we have a very special episode for today. Our longtime co-host, Doug Ishikawa, had to step away from our long-form podcast, but you can still catch him in the morning as he will continue to do the On the Bump episodes. With that said, we have a new co-host. She is co-founder of Rest of the Season Rankings podcast, worked with MFSN's The Hub, is unfortunately a Braves fan, but luckily a New York Giants fan.
Yep.
Her name is Lauren Auerbach. So welcome, Lauren. Welcome to SP Streamer.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And yes, we'll have to, because you're a Mets fan, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to constantly take jabs at you throughout episodes.
I can't wait.
You'll just get used to it.
I can jab it back. It's fine. But thank you for that intro. And, first of all, I just want to thank you for kind of bringing me on as your co-host. I'm super excited about this opportunity. I love talking baseball. I'm really looking forward to talking baseball with you. And, I've said this before, but I'm really looking forward to being a part of the SP Streamer family. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Despite the fact that you're a Mets fan, I am happy to be here. So yeah.
Yeah, and I got to give a quick shout out to Matt Williams, because when I posted that I was looking for someone, he suggested you. I actually haven't heard you before, and then when I heard you, plus other people, reached out to me, which was awesome. But you kind of blew me away, so we had a little back and forth trying to get in touch with each other, but that's fine. It worked out.
Yes.
So.
I know. And, we are very new. My podcast partner, Andrew Seifter, and I, we only have 6 episodes out. We just started. So we were super happy to get Matt's attention. And, it's been a whirlwind, and I'm just kind of rolling with it right now. So
yeah, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. I warned Lauren, and I got to warn everyone who's listening or watching. I have a crazy storm coming in apparently right now, and I'm getting all these warnings. So if I lose electricity, Lauren's going to probably have to just wrap it up and finish up wherever we were. So if I randomly get cut out, I apologize. I hope it doesn't happen, but I am getting warnings from the electric company and stuff like that it might happen. So
is the sky green or anything?
Put that out there. It's very dark.
Okay. I feel like I'm from the Midwest, and so it's like once you have that green sky and the tornadoes and all that stuff, it's always like, is the sky green? But
that does not happen here.
Okay. Yeah.
Before we get started, though, sometimes I like to bring in random things. I always, I like to bring in random questions. You didn't even know I was going to bring this up.
No,
but
I can't.
I saw it today. There is an 11-year-old named, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Laurent Simons, who just completed his bachelor's degree in physics. And said after his master's, he wants to focus on artificial organs to achieve immortality.
Okay.
Now, here's a picture of him, and I feel like this kid is going to grow up to be some kind of evil person.
Okay. Yeah, let me see.
And kind of like, hold on, like take over the world.
Oh yeah, this guy. I mean, if you're not watching, he's got kind of like the black turtleneck. Right? Yeah, and he does kind of have this like this kind of striker pose where it's just like, yeah, watch out, like I'm going to rule the world. Don't get in my way. If you do, I will kill you. I will not harvest organs for you.
I am totally going to put this in the description for the podcast, a link to this kid, so everyone can see what we're talking about, because it's creepy. And we are live, and someone just commented, "Oh boy, taking the Steve Jobs look," which is true. I guess that's probably what they were going for there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw it today, and figured I need to bring that up because I'm weird. All right, let's get to baseball. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about some struggling stars. I put it in quotations because some of them, I guess, technically aren't stars, but people at least people like them. So yeah, these players have been extremely disappointing this season, much like Lauren's team, the Atlanta Braves. And we're going to
it starts so early. We're like not even 10 minutes in.
We're just going to discuss, our insights moving forward, and, what we think they're going to do the rest of the season. The stats I have here are as of 7-1. because that's when I typed this up and I didn't update it since. All right, so we're gonna start with our first player. It's actually a Mets player, so there you go.
It is. So there you go.
Yeah, Francisco Lindor, who's was only hitting 213 with a 293 WOBA, only 9 home runs, 89 WRC plus. Everyone knows he is struggling. So Lauren, start us off. What do you think about him? What do you feel like? Do you think he's going to be better moving forward? That kind of stuff.
I do. I have a little bit of kind of, despite the fact that he plays for your Mets, I think there's a little bit of arrows up for him. And I think that there is reason to be optimistic. You know, I mean, he started off the season just ice cold, right? But he has improved kind of steadily each month, despite the fact that he has like a 212 batting average. But, you know, he's been incredibly unlucky this season. He has a 240 BABIP versus a career 293. So positive regression should be coming. You know, he's always been solid at the plate. And I think, you know, I was looking I think some of the projections have him at, 118 WRC plus rest of season. So there is a little bit of hope. He is hitting near the top of the lineup. The Mets bats, they're coming off the IL. So they're getting healthy. And so I think, you know, sitting near the top of the lineup, I think he's got, you know, runs scored upside. And, listen, I don't think what you're going to get, you know, what you drafted, you know, when you drafted Lindor, you're not going to get that. But I think
it's gone.
You know, I think you could get, he could do maybe like a 25, 15, maybe 250, 260 season, maybe. So yeah, there is value in that. It's not what you drafted him for, but I think arrows are pointing upwards with Lindor. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I noted that since June he's hitting 250. You know, the WOBA was up. The WRC plus is 124, so kind of in that range that you were talking about. He's hit 5 home runs. So he's definitely been better. You know, he's hitting the ball way harder. And something I wanted to note too is obviously there's a lot of bad luck there too with him at first. His BABIP on the season is 240. But his BABIP since June 1st is 275, which is more, you know, towards his career average. So I think he had a lot of bad luck. Finally, it's starting to go the other way for him. And now he's kind of doing what we thought. I mean, the average you'd like to have a little higher than 250 since June. But at least like he's hitting balls harder. He's, you know, and he's come up clutch. Someone brought up some interesting stats about him. Actually, as the game goes on, he actually gets better. And really? And like later on in the games where there's like, big opportunities for him to like help the Mets take the leads and stuff, he like kind of excels at that point in the game. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting. I saw that on Twitter today. I forgot who said it. I would shout them out, but I don't remember. But yeah, so I agree, and hopefully, you know, I think the Mets really need him. I mean, the good thing about him is he, as a real baseball player, not fantasy wise, he's so good defensively. Where you know he's even then he was, you know, even when he's struggling to his bat, at least we have that, which is good. So.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move on to someone who is a complete mess this season, and that is Gleyber Torres, who's only hitting 242. But the key is he only has 3 home runs this season with 82 WRC plus. Yeah. How do you feel about Gleyber?
Man, Gleyber, it's like he's imploded or something. Like, I don't know. It's really, with him, it's like a complete evaporation of power, right? I mean, he's 2 years removed from his 38 homer season. He had 24 homers before that. But like you referenced, you know, his power this season it's non-existent. He's got the 3 homers. And if you combine, you know, his homers for this season and last season, it's 6 home runs in 457 plate appearances. So it's gone, you know, and I think that what we kind of started to see in 2020 is he started pulling the ball less, you know, he started hitting the ball less hard. And I think that combo is, you know, that results in no home runs. And why do you draft, you know, Gleyber Torres? It's for his power. And so if he doesn't have that, you know, I mean, his fantasy value plummets. So I don't know, like, would you think it's like a kind of a mechanics thing? I mean, what do you think is going on?
So actually what I found and I thought was interesting, I don't know if anyone's pointed this out yet, but so I felt like everyone like I kind of bought back into him this year, and that was because his plate discipline was a lot better last season. And he wasn't striking out as much. I think he was walking more. And then this season, it's the same thing. But what I found out was he's getting into deeper counts in his at bats. And I noticed that the best, like most of his home runs and his hits and everything comes when he's more aggressive and swings earlier in the count. So I feel like that's what he did when he was playing well. And now he's just trying to be more patient, which is good, but it's also kind of hurting. I feel like he's constantly getting into like 2-2 counts or 3-2 counts. And like, for some reason, his stats aren't as good there. As opposed to like, I was seeing like a lot of his home runs were like 1-1 counts or 1-0 or 0-1. So maybe for some reason that's hurting him. I don't know. It's really a weird case. But yeah, I mean, his power is just gone, and it's so strange. And you would think the Yankees will figure this out.
I know.
You know, with their staff there. I don't see an improvement. Do you see improvement coming, or are you just out on him at this point?
No, I don't, but I will say just kind of a little to hedge that bet. I mean, I do think if he were to heat up a little bit, then it's not the worst thing in the world to like, pick him up or see, it's just because he does have that track record. It's I don't know. I am overall kind of like a thumbs down rest of season, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like Lindor, he does have a track record. It's just something's just been off. Maybe it's too much in his head or something. But I will say also then kind of a plus is that he is at least bringing some speed to the game. He's got 5 stolen bases so far. So
that's true.
If there is a little bit of, something positive to say about him, right? It's that he has some 5 stolen bases this season. So, but overall, I think I'm out.
Yeah, I'm actually looking. He's actually 1 bag away from his career high in a season. And what's crazy is, I mean, you always heard people like when he hit those 30 home runs, everyone was like, he's only 21 at that point or something?
Yeah, 21, 22.
And I mean, now he's only 24 still. So I feel like anything can happen with him. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but like I said, ever since he raised that walk rate, which you typically like, and got better plate discipline, it's made him worse.
Just been downhill.
Yeah, it's so odd. He's such a weird case.
He should try and get more. He should get worse plate discipline, and then have we fixed the problem for him? Is that it? Just walk less.
Just start swinging more and just keep going.
Yeah.
We'll take the strikeouts if the power comes back. That's
exactly.
Fine. All right, next. This one's close to your heart, Lauren. That's Dansby Swanson hitting 228. The power's there, 13 home runs, but just not the average is plummeted. What are your thoughts on him? I mean, I'm sure you watch him a lot. What do you think's going on with him?
It's funny. I don't know. It's like unlike, Gleyber Torres and Francisco Lindor, where they had these really down 2020s. Swanson had, I think, really probably his best overall season in 2020. He'd played all 60 games. He had a 274 batting average, and he had 10 homers and 5 steals. So, and he had a 190 ISO actually, which is pretty good. So, in this season, he still is bringing some power and a little bit of speed, but like you referenced, it's at like a 230 batting average. And I think that's a result of his plate approach is kind of crumbling a little bit. He's walking way less. He's striking out more. And we're talking about like at a 28.3% clip. So it's like he's nearing that 30, percent strikeout rate, which is just going to just keep his, batting average low. And there's also been a dip in his line drives. So I don't know. I think it's kind of similar a little bit to Lindor, where I think he can still end up I think he can do like a 24 home run, maybe 10 stolen base. 250, I think would be that's probably ambitious. But I
wonder what's weird with him though is when I looked into him, like you said, like he's striking out more. I wonder if that's a lot of I wonder if he's getting like a lot of called strikes on him because from what I remember, what I looked at least in my notes, is his contact rate is still there. Like he's still making contact with the ball just as much.
Right.
So I don't know. I wonder if he's just like looking too much also. I don't know. He is another weird case. I think the average will rebound a little bit. But I think he hit like 274 or something like that last season. I don't think he's going to come close to that, but kind of like you said, I feel like maybe like he gets to the 250 range. But I mean, as long as he keeps hitting for power, at least he got something there with some speed too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think he's going to be a little better moving forward, at least average wise.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think he's that bad. All right, let's move on to our next player, and that is Charlie Blackmon, who's hitting 260 with a 328 WOBA, 4 home runs, and a 93 WRC plus. Blackmon has always been the guy who hits like near 300. So what do you think's going on there, Lauren?
I don't know. I mean, with him, it's just, I think this year, preseason, I was like, he's a great kind of buy low candidate. I think that he was undervalued because he had that bad 2020. And I was like, no, he's got this great track record, where he's hit, at least 29 home runs between 2016 and 2019. We've seen his steals and his speed drop off. But this season, we're seeing, both his power and his batting average drop off. And you'd referenced that elite batting average. That was one thing you could always count on. And I think for me, it was like, even if he wasn't stealing bases, he was still a solid 4 category contributor. And, it's another case of this kind of poor 2020 kind of carrying over to this season. And it's, he's got 10 home runs, combined this season and last season and 552 plate appearances. So that's crazy to me. And it's really the batting average. He was able to carry that batting average last season when he had a poor season. But, he's sitting at 256 right now. And I think that, if he can't get that up, I mean, part of it is I think that he hasn't been elevating the ball this season.
Yes, that's exactly
his launch angle's gone down. He's hitting, you've seen a huge surge in ground balls. So unless he can figure out how to elevate the ball this season, he's looking at he's maybe a 3 category contributor this season. And so he falls, in my eyes with that fantasy value. He's much less appealing as a 3 category contributor, but if he can figure out how to elevate the ball, great. Then I think that he can go back to Charlie Blackmon, but right now he's not doing that.
Yeah, you literally stole everything I was going to say, which is good. I mean, his expected stats show that he should have hit for a higher average, closer to 300, but expected stats, as people have been talking about a lot lately, isn't predictive. That doesn't mean that's what's going to happen moving forward. And I think the reason for that is exactly what you said. Like I wrote down, he is his highest ground ball rate of his career right now. It's at 50%. I think the highest before that was 40. And his launch angle is way down. So he's just not lifting it. He's just hitting on the ground a ton, and he doesn't have his speed anymore. He's older. He's 35. So I just feel like unless he, like you said, unless he starts lifting it, this is what we're going to get from him.
I think he's out.
Complete bust. Absolutely. All right. Next hitter, a power hitter. I always say his first name wrong. I can't say it properly.
Eugenio.
Eugenio. Thank you.
Eugenio. There you go.
We'll have you say that. And Eugenio Suarez.
Yes.
In my head, whenever I see his name, I always say Eugenio. I don't know why.
I know
it's Eugenio, but that's what I say over.
Yeah.
Only hitting 173, but he does have 16 homers. The WRC plus is low. For those who don't know, WRC plus basically is just a good way of measuring how well someone really is hitting the ball. Instead of just instead of a double being as good as a single in average, it actually weighs more compared to a single. So that's what WRC plus was. So I mean, everything. I mean, again, he has a lot of power, but the average is just tanking. So do you think we could see the Suarez who did hit 250 at one point? Because if not, all he's giving you is power, which isn't that valuable anymore because you could get power, later in drafts now. So where he was being taken, you could have got guys who were putting up the same numbers way later. So you're kind of losing out with him right now. So do you think the average could come back at all?
I don't. I mean, I think with him, I think you started seeing a change approach in 2019 where he started kind of selling out for power, where he started pulling the ball more starting in 2019. And with that, that's when you started seeing these really elevated strikeout rates. And so then you saw his batting average start tumbling. But now, when I say tumble, it was kind of like fine, like in like in 2019. And then it really started going off the cliff last season. And now we're sitting like at 178 and it's just like, or 187. And it's just like, like what you had said, it's just like, is that 35 kind of 40 homer power potential that he has, is that worth his batting average? Because I think that he's just sold out altogether on this. And I think that this is how he's going to play. And I don't think that he's going to go back. So I don't think he's going to increase his batting average.
Yeah. I mean, between the 2 seasons, last year and this year, he's hitting 188.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The contact rates have plummeted. He's whiffing more. He's chasing more. But when he makes contact, he kills the ball.
Right.
Which is it's a little interesting too, because like he has a ton of home runs, but the WRC plus I would expect to be higher, but I guess it's either like he's either hitting ground balls or he's hitting home runs, so that's probably what that is. But yeah, I mean the power is definitely there. It's just I don't think that average comes back either, which kind of kills you if you drafted him, because I felt like a lot of people were thinking he'd come back up to that 250, including myself. So if he's giving you power and he's not killing you in average, then that's a lot more beneficial than what he's doing right now.
I do think that kind of compared to some of the other players that we've already talked about, the thing is you at least know what you're going to get with Suarez, right? You're either going to buy into that fantasy profile or you're not. He's going to bring power, but it's going to come at just this dismal batting average. And so you either buy into that or you don't. And so at least you know what you're kind of getting with him. But I think from his 2019 on, I think this is a Suarez you're going to see. And I would expect to see that next season as well. So
yeah, I agree. All right, we're going to move on to some pitchers now. We're going to roll with first Aaron Nola, who I always love. He has a 4.44 ERA. I think I said 3 4s, not 4.
Yep.
But it does come with a 3.47 FIP, 3.47 FIP, and 11.14 K per 9. Do you think something's going on with Nola? Do you think he's just unlucky right now? I know the K rate's down slightly, but do you think he'll have a second half resurgence, or do you think like maybe something's going on here where Nola might not be a sub-3 ERA pitcher this year?
I don't think he'll be a sub-3 ERA pitcher.
I mean sub-4. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was like, no, that's not going to happen.
Sorry, sub-4.
Yeah, I think he could be a sub-4 pitcher. I think that I kind of actually over at ROSrankings.com, I had moved him down in my rankings, but I actually think, kind of looking at him a little closer, I should move him back up a little bit. Like you said, I mean, his strikeouts have gone down a little bit, but he's still giving you, decent Ks, right? And, he's not walking anyone. Long balls have been a little bit of an issue with him. Yep. And I think what is kind of interesting is, his June starts are just, they're really up and down, right?
Real quick to cut you off. I love listening to Ellen Adair. Do you know who Ellen Adair is?
I don't, but I feel like I need to now.
Big Phillies fan, and she went on a podcast recently. I forget what it was, and she was talking about Nola, and she said basically it's almost like every game one of his pitches are off, and it's like causing him to struggle. And
like it's just not working, basically, right?
And so the reason why he was so good last season was because he relied on his breaking balls more than his fastball. And I think that's what led to a lot of strikeouts. But this year it's opposite. He's going to his fastball a lot because one of his breaking balls, like every game, is just off. And he's struggling with the command.
Yeah.
So I really think that he's always been good with command. So I really think that he's going to be able to fix that. and that he should be better moving forward. But that's what they kind of say. Like, it kind of like what you said too. Like, I mean, the home runs are an issue, and that's because if you really look at like his pitch locations, like the breaking balls, like when he leaves them hanging, they're middle, and they're just getting killed. And that's why he's having those like erratic starts where like if his breaking balls are on, he's phenomenal. And then if they're not, he's going to that four seam and it's just not getting those ground balls that he's used to and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm assuming he fixes it. I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's like when I had looked at his last 4 starts, it's like, 0 earned runs, 6 earned runs, 0 earned runs, 7 earned runs. It's just, crazy. And that kind of inconsistency has to be maddening as a fantasy manager and as a fan, Yeah. And I don't know, maybe it's like what you had talked about with kind of the breaking ball usage and maybe it's kind of being off, one of his pitches being off. Do you think it has anything to do with like sticky stuff and kind of adjusting to maybe less grip or something?
That's a good question. I don't know. It definitely could be. I don't know. That's a good question. We have to look at his, RPMs, but I think I want to say no, just because was happening like since the season started almost.
Oh, okay.
So that was before they even cracked down. So I want to say no. But I mean, it could be a bunch of other things. So.
Right.
We
don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, again, it sounds like you're with me though. Like if we're to bank on it, he'll be better moving forward.
I think so.
We don't think he's a pitcher above a 4 ERA. So
yeah.
All right. Zach Eflin, same team, also been kind of a mess. 4.20 ERA, 3.54 FIP. The strikeouts way down to 8.70 K per 9. What do you think's going on there?
I don't know what's going on there, Michael, but I mean, I'm kind of like, I think he's kind of like perfectly fine. He has had his past, since June, he's actually pitched fairly well. He's allowed 3 earned runs or less in 4 of his past 5 starts. He got rocked against the Giants. Yeah. They tagged him for 6 runs, but it's the Giants and the Giants are just playing out of their mind right now. So that's okay. But like what you referenced, I think, there's not a ton of his strikeouts are down. So there's not a lot of kind of strikeout potential. I don't know, like his fastball and off speed velo is down as well, which is probably not good. So he's like, he's fine, but he's okay. I don't know if there's going to be some big resurgence or anything in the second half of the season. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I noted the drop in velocity too, and that could just be, I noticed the curveball isn't getting as much whiffs as it was last year.
Okay.
So I think maybe the drop in velocity is making it easier for hitters to tell, but to be able to tell between sinker and curveball which one's coming. I don't know. I mean, I always, I came into this year not liking him and just constantly saying he reminds me of Matt Boyd. Like, I feel like he's going to have those good starts where he can put up some Ks, but he also does let up home runs. He might always kind of underperform. I can't buy into it. I think this is what he is. Kind of like you said. I mean, he's just, he's okay.
He's okay. Yeah, he's fine. Like, I feel like you get a t-shirt, be like, Eflin, yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's okay.
All right. Our next pitcher has been the biggest disaster. Moved to the bullpen. That's Dylan Bundy, 6.58 ERA, 5.31 FIP. I'm someone who liked him coming into this year, of course. I mean, personally, for me, there's not really much to say about him. For some reason, he went from throwing his slider more to less again. Who the heck knows why? But we all know the fastball velocity has been dipping. He started the season at 92 miles an hour, and then his last 5 starts, he was barely touching 90 in 2 of them, and in 1 of them, he was under 90. He was throwing at like 89 miles an hour. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like that's the obvious reason. Who knows what's going on? I mean, do you think there's any – let's put it this way. Do you think there's any shot that he could eventually come out of the bullpen, pitch better, and give you like a 4 ERA?
I don't know. I think it's like he's just kind of imploded this season. And maybe something, I'm curious to see what you think. I mean, maybe going to the bullpen, like maybe that whole kind of change of scenery sort of thing, maybe pressure will be off him or something. Maybe it's good. Maybe that'll just be set like an intangible like that. I mean, it's not like he has skills, he still has this like CSW rate of like, 30.6%. So it's not like he doesn't have stuff, he was still kind of striking batters out, but he was getting rocked with the home run. And I guess my concern going into the bullpen is now you're, further limiting his innings, and, does that just further kind of wreak havoc on his ratios, and maybe it's not a good thing for him to go to the bullpen, although they can't keep him out there right now, like as a starter.
No, yeah. I don't know. The only thing I'm thinking of is it actually might help him. And the more I think about it, I feel like he might just be a better bullpen arm. And like, maybe, I know it sounds crazy and like they probably won't do it, but maybe just keep him there because he really only has 2 pitches. And because of the drop in velocity, if he knows he's only throwing 1 or 2 innings, then he could throw harder. And when he's throwing 92, he was really good last season. Now he can't do it, but maybe if he's only pitching in, he could like go all out and know that he could throw harder. And maybe that will bring back the really good slider with the okay fastball. And that could lead to success. But he's such a disaster. It's like it's a massive question.
It's too bad. Yeah. Because I think there were such high hopes coming into this season for him, and like I said, it's not a talent
good last year. Yeah. All right. Next guy is Eduardo Rodriguez. He had a 5.83 ERA with a 3.58 FIP, though. The K9's a little over 10. Has been pitching better as of late. How do you feel about him, Laura?
Yeah, he has. I mean, he's had a good kind of his last 3 games. He's been pretty good, and that may be some of the positive kind of regression that I think is due his way. He has this horrible. He's been unlucky, terribly unlucky this season. He's got a 3.57 BABIP. I think compared to like a 3. Let me see, like a 3.05 career BABIP. So maybe we're starting to see that. I kind of always try and root for him. For some reason, I'm an Erod fan. I just kind of root for him. But his K rate's up, his walk rate's down. I just think he's just kind of been unlucky. And but he is still, like I said, he's kind of recently been limiting runs. He's still getting some Ks. And I don't know, maybe you can speak more to kind of pitch mix or if there's something that's not kind of working. I think overall, like maybe like in shallower leagues, he may not be roster worthy, but I think that he could be, but you may want to pick and choose your moments with him.
Right. I didn't see anything like pitch mix wise or anything. I just, like you said, I just think he's just so unlucky. I mean, the ERA comes with a 3.58 FIP, like you said, the 3.57 BABIP, a 3.37 xFIP, a 3.48 Sierra. Like you could look at all these underlining stuff and they all show that he is a million times better than what he was putting out. And then I just noted his last 3 starts is a 2.5 ERA with a 2.9 FIP and a 30% strikeout rate. So I think it's just a matter of luck swinging the other way with him, and he'll just be better moving forward. I probably should have looked. I don't know is Boston's defense bad? Do we not?
I don't know. I don't think we know. We don't know. We can find that out, but we don't know right now. Yeah.
Homework. All right, let's move on. Yeah, let's move on to another starter who is struggling. We got 2 left. This one is Kenta Maeda, who has burned a lot of people. He has a 5.56 ERA, 4.99 FIP. The K per 9 is around 8. He did have that IL stint. Now he's back, been pitching a little better. What do you think about Maeda moving forward?
I mean, I roster Maeda, and so I kind of feel this one a little bit. But just across the board, things just haven't looked good, Like you said, Ks are down, walks are up. His walks are up big time, by the way, too. It's like jumped to, I think he's got like a 3.51 per 9. And, his homers are up. And I think one of the reasons that, you drafted Kenta Maeda was, because he has solid K rates. It's not like super high strikeout guy, but it's just like a solid K rate. And he's a great ratio stabilizer. And that's just gone sideways this season. And like you said, he has been on the injury list. I don't know if it's, is it poor command? Is it a nagging injury? It just seems like he's been hittable, and people are hitting him. There's a spike in his hard hit rate, and his hard hit percentage. So guys are getting at him, and they're getting at him hard. And like I was kind of talking about, say league size with Eduardo Rodriguez. If you're in a shallower league with Kenta Maeda, I think that he could be droppable. At least in a 10 team league, I think. Unless, do you see him turning around?
So, everyone who listens to my podcast is probably sick of hearing me say this. But I was not a fan of Maeda just because, well, not a fan. So I think Maeda is good, a lot better than this. I definitely think he's a 4 to high 3 ERA guy. He's got really good breaking balls, no doubt. My issue with him was, well, one, he was being taken way too high, but I always noticed that he struggles with slider command, and he leaves it in the middle like more than any other pitcher. And it's okay if you do that and hitters miss, but they don't miss on his slider in the middle. They crush it. And that's what everyone saw happen was they were getting all these home runs and absolutely just destroying the pitch. So I think it's a command issue. But, I can't say he can't improve it. Of course he can. So if he does that, I think he can be a very good pitcher because, again, the slider's good. It's just with slider, it's all about location. And if he's just got to put in the right spot, and that pitch becomes almost unhittable again. So I really do like the arsenal. It's really just a matter of the command coming around. Whether that happens or not, I'm not too sure. But I think even if it doesn't fully, he can still get by. And I still think you might see like at least a low 4 ERA. Like I think he's definitely going to be better, but I just don't think he's going to be that top. Like I think everyone was putting him like top 20, top 30 pitcher. And I just don't think he's there.
Yeah. He got pushed up a lot in the
yes, it was so much recency bias. And like, plus there's so many questions about workload still. So we got to see kind of how that turns out. All right, last guy, Jameson Taillon, New York Yankees, 5.43 ERA, 4.75 FIP, K per 9's only around 9. Another guy who's just a mess. Do you think he's going to get better moving forward?
I'm kind of and I like that you asked me just like that, no, I don't. I'm kind of out on Taillon for the season. For me, it's innings. He's only made it to the 6th inning twice in his 15 games started. And I know that the Yankees probably want to be conservative with him. He's had 2 Tommy John surgeries. So it's like, I get that. That's understandable. But when you're not pitching that much and he is striking out more than he has at this season at 24.1% strikeout rate. But still, that's fine. But it's also not like lights out. There's no reason to kind of keep him in for kind of a strikeout potential. I think that he's had some command issues this season. I did think, there was a possibility that, I think 2 of his last 3 starts, he had 2 good outings against the Royals and the A's, and it looked like he may have turned a corner, but then he just got tagged last game with the Angels. And, and he gave up 3 home runs in that game. And I think he was only in there for like 5 innings. Yeah, 5 1/3 innings. So there's just not enough there for me to really be interested in. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think?
No, I agree actually. What it is too? It's really hard to just expect someone who's been out for a year and a half to just come back and be, click right away. It just doesn't really happen. And what he's struggling with also is command. Like when he pitches really well, you see him locating his fastball at the top of the zone consistently. That's when he pitches well. When he doesn't, it's when he's missing in the middle of the zone. He's not missing over it, which is a good miss compared to a bad miss, if there really is such a thing.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so I just think it's a matter of him like still trying to get, back into getting used to pitching games. I think like maybe next season I might be a little into him. I'd have to see how he kind of finishes off, but I'm going to be really curious, and I'll really be watching him to see if like he improves more towards the end of the season, because then maybe he just needs to get more and more games under him where he starts getting, probably. I mean, I'm not a pitcher, I don't know, but I would assume it takes longer than you think to like get your mechanics back and all this other stuff and make adjustments and figure everything out when you've had this injury where you're out for a season and a half, so we'll see what happens moving forward. But right now, I mean, let me ask you this: would you own him in a 12 team?
I owned him for a little bit in a 12-team league that I'm in, but I dropped him. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of with you on that whole kind of maybe next year, if, some of the rust is a little bit off. And I think it is a good point. Let's see how he does kind of at the tail end of the season. And if he's picking up, then I think that's kind of good, sneaky kind of pickup next season then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, definitely. All right. Lauren, that is our first episode.
We've done it. It's the inaugural.
And we didn't disagree on a player. We'll see.
We didn't, and nature didn't come down and like shut us off.
Ruin it.
So right. So it was a success, I think.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention actually. So obviously, I've listened to your podcast, and I heard you say on one of them that you're a big Pablo Lopez fan.
I am. Yes.
Yeah. He's like one of my favorite pitchers.
I was really high on him in the off season, and I was just like, that was my pitcher in the off season. I'm like, this is my boy, Pablo.
Yep. Love him. Yep. So that's good. All right, good. So we could always talk about.
We got the Pablo love. If there's any disagreements, we've got the Pablo love.
All right. Well, for those listening, make sure you follow Lauren. She has under 100 follows, which is unacceptable.
I do.
And
yes. I'm really new to the whole Twitter thing. I've got to up my Twitter game. I've got to get into this whole social media. I'm aware of this. I'm behind the times, and I've just got to figure it out. But help me figure it out.
I'm just going to send you like a list of people you need to follow.
Okay, I'll do that. I can do that. I need like a starter kit, like a 101, Twitter 101 or something like that, Yeah.
You guys could follow Lauren on Twitter at LK Auerbach, which is AUERBACH. I'll put her Twitter handle in the description though. This way you guys could just copy and paste if that's easier.
It's easy. And yes, do that.
All right.
But yeah, it's been a blast, and thank you again for having me. I'm super excited to be here and talking baseball with you, and can't wait to do it some more.
Yep. All right. Next week we'll for everyone listening, we will be posting this Wednesday morning. We'll probably try and do the same day every week, hopefully. And we'll continue live stream. For those who do watch our morning live streams, I will be on the rest of the week, 8 a.m. Eastern each day. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at SPStreamer. Check out our website, spstreamer.com. Check out our membership if you want to join it. We have an awesome Discord chat, which Lauren just joined.
I did. Yeah. It's very active. I'm just like,
it's insane.
So many people are just like, what should I do? I'm like,
A lot of people mute it from what they tell me. Well, because we have so many, for those who aren't in our Discord channel, we have a ton of categories. And you can Discord's great. You can mute certain categories. So like if people are talking, you don't have to see it. And you could put on, Lauren probably doesn't know this. You could leave notifications on for specific channels, or if someone tags you, whatever. So you could just use it when you want, or that's why we have this one news channel that's so great. A lot of people leave the alerts on just for that, because like you said, it's so active. I have so many people in there, luckily, who are like in it all the time. And like anytime news comes up, like I'll go to put it in like a minute after it's announced and someone already put it in our Discord chat.
Yeah.
Like it's so awesome for like news. Like I know like people tell me sometimes this kind of sounds bad on me, but it's not really not. But some people say like the membership's worth it just for that, because they get the news faster than everyone else.
Like you're on the pulse of baseball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's cool.
Super active. I'm still trying to figure it out, but yeah, it's seems pretty valuable from what I've seen so far.
We try, and we always try adding new stuff. We'll be adding new stuff next year and all that kind of good stuff. All right.
Cool.
So again, thanks for listening, guys. We're gonna head out now. I hope you all have a good day, and we will speak to you next week.
Talk to you later.